In 1901, Thomas Edison patented a battery that lasts over 20 years, uses no toxic materials, cannot be damaged by overcharging, cannot be damaged by fully draining, and is made from two of the most common metals on Earth, nickel and iron. He designed it to power electric cars. In 1900, the year before Edison filed his patent, electric vehicles outnumbered gasoline cars on American roads. Edison believed electricity was the future of transportation, and he built a battery specifically to make that future happen. It was lighter than lead acid, it charged in half the time, it could be abused, neglected, overcharged, completely drained to zero, and it did not care, it just kept working, for decades. Some of the original cells manufactured by Edison's company in the early 1900s are still functional today, over 100 years later. The battery was so reliable that the German military used it to power V-1 flying bombs and V-2 rockets during World War II. Railroads used it for signaling systems across the continent. Mines across Europe used it underground, where vibration and heat would destroy any other battery. It was the most durable rechargeable battery ever mass-produced. Then, in 1972, the Edison Storage Battery Company was sold to the Exide Battery Corporation. 3 years later, Exide discontinued the product entirely. The most durable battery ever manufactured was killed by the company that bought it. And today, in 2026, while the entire world scrambles to mine lithium from ecologically devastated salt flats in Chile and cobalt from child-operated mines in the Congo, Edison's battery sits in the historical footnotes, made from metals you can buy at any hardware store for a few dollars. This is the story of the nickel-iron battery, the invention Edison considered his greatest achievement, and the reason the companies selling you lithium batteries that die in 5 years pray you never hear about it. Thomas Edison did not stumble into battery design, he attacked it. By the late 1890s, Edison was already the most famous inventor in the world. The light bulb, the phonograph, the motion picture camera, and over 1,000 other patents had made him wealthy and legendary. But Edison saw a problem that none of his other inventions could solve. The electric vehicles of his era ran on lead-acid batteries that were heavy, fragile, corrosive, and lasted only a few years before they needed to be replaced entirely. Lead-acid batteries used sulfuric acid as an electrolyte. They were dangerous to handle, they corroded their own terminals, they could not tolerate deep discharge without permanent damage, and their lifespan was measured in hundreds of cycles, not thousands. Edison decided to build something better. He set a goal that by modern standards sounds almost absurd. He wanted a battery that was lighter, 3 times more powerful, completely non-toxic, tolerant of any abuse an operator could inflict, and capable of lasting the lifetime of the vehicle it powered. He assigned a dedicated team at his West Orange, New Jersey laboratory, and they began testing, not dozens of combinations, thousands. Edison and his staff tested over 10,000 chemical and material combinations over a period of approximately 4 years, searching for the right pairing of metals and electrolyte. By 1903, after what Edison himself described as one of the most difficult undertakings of his career, more difficult than the light bulb, more difficult than the phonograph, the battery was finished. The design was elegant. A positive electrode made of nickel hydroxide, a negative electrode made of iron, an electrolyte of potassium hydroxide dissolved in water. That is it. 3 ingredients, all of them abundant, all of them non-toxic, and all of them cheap. The nominal cell voltage was 1.2 volts. Cells could be connected in series to produce any voltage required, exactly like modern battery packs. The nickel-iron battery produced a specific energy of about 50 watt-hours per kilogram, which was significantly higher than the lead-acid batteries of the time. But the real advantage was not energy density, it was indestructibility. A nickel-iron battery can be overcharged indefinitely without damage. You can leave it on a charger for weeks and it does not care. It can be completely discharged to 0 volts and recharged with no loss of capacity. Try that with a lithium-ion battery and you will destroy it permanently. A nickel-iron cell can be short-circuited and recover. It can be frozen and thawed. It can sit unused for years, be filled with fresh electrolyte, and return to full capacity as if nothing happened. The electrolyte is potassium hydroxide and water. When it degrades after a decade or so of use, you do not replace the battery, you replace the electrolyte. You drain the old solution, pour in fresh potassium hydroxide and distilled water, and the battery is reborn. The cells themselves, the nickel and iron plates, last 40 years or more. Some original Edison cells from the 1910s are still in operation today. Edison began marketing the battery around 1903 through the Edison Storage Battery Company in West Orange, New Jersey. He targeted the electric vehicle market, which in 1900 was dominant. More electric and steam-powered cars were sold in America than gasoline cars at the turn of the century. Edison believed that the nickel-iron battery would give electric vehicles the range, reliability, and lifespan they needed to stay ahead of the internal combustion engine permanently. But history did not cooperate. The nickel-iron battery had two weaknesses that the gasoline industry exploited ruthlessly. First, it was expensive to manufacture compared to lead acid. The nickel plating process and the precision assembly of the plate pockets made production costs higher, even though the lifetime cost was dramatically lower because the battery lasted 10 to 20 times longer. Second, the nickel-iron battery released small amounts of hydrogen gas during charging, which required ventilation. In a sealed engine compartment, this was a complication that lead acid did not present. Then, in 1908, Henry Ford introduced the Model T. Mass production drove the price of gasoline cars below anything the electric vehicle industry could match. Ford's assembly line made the internal combustion engine affordable to the middle class overnight, and the electric vehicle market collapsed. Not because electric cars were inferior, because gasoline cars became cheaper faster than battery technology could improve. Edison was devastated. He had spent years and a fortune developing what he believed was the definitive automotive battery, and the market moved out from under him before he could establish it. He reportedly told Henry Ford, who was his close friend, that the electric car would return someday. He was right. It just took 100 years. But the nickel-iron battery did not die with the electric car. It found a second life in industrial applications, where its extraordinary durability was more valuable than its weight or cost. Railroads adopted it for signaling systems that needed to operate unattended for years in remote locations. Mining operations across Europe used it underground, where its resistance to vibration, heat, and rough handling made it the only reliable option. Forklift operators in warehouses used it because it could be deeply discharged every day and recharged every night without losing capacity. The German military used nickel-iron batteries in their V-1 and V-2 rocket programs during World War II because no other battery could survive the extreme conditions of weapons deployment. The Edison Storage Battery Company manufactured and sold nickel-iron cells profitably from 1903 to 1972, nearly 70 years of continuous production. Cells were made in capacities ranging from 5 amp-hours to over 1,200 amp-hours. The product line was robust, proven, and profitable. Then, in 1972, the Edison Storage Battery Company was sold to the Exide Battery Corporation. Exide was and remains one of the largest lead-acid battery manufacturers in the world. In 1975, 3 years after acquiring Edison's company, Exide discontinued the nickel-iron battery entirely. The most durable rechargeable battery ever mass-produced was removed from the market by a company whose entire business model depended on selling replacement batteries every 3 to 5 years. A battery that lasts 40 years generates 1 sale per customer per lifetime. A battery that lasts 5 years generates 8 sales per customer per lifetime. Exide did not discontinue the nickel-iron battery because it stopped working. They discontinued it because it worked too well. A product that never needs to be replaced is the enemy of a company that only makes money when you need a replacement.
Now consider the modern battery landscape. The global lithium-ion battery market is projected to exceed $180 billion by 2030. Lithium-ion batteries power your phone, your laptop, your electric vehicle, your power tools, and increasingly, your home energy storage system. A typical lithium-ion battery lasts between 500 and 1,500 charge cycles before its capacity degrades to the point of needing replacement. For a home solar storage battery like a Tesla Powerwall, that translates to roughly 10 to 15 years under ideal conditions, often less with heavy daily cycling. Lithium is mined primarily from salt flats in Chile, Argentina, and Bolivia, using a process that consumes millions of gallons of water in some of the driest regions on Earth. Cobalt, another critical component of most lithium-ion chemistries, is sourced predominantly from the Democratic Republic of the Congo, where artisanal mining operations have been documented using child labor. The supply chains for these materials are geopolitically fragile, environmentally destructive, and ethically compromised. Edison's battery uses nickel and iron. Both are among the most abundant and widely available metals on the planet. The electrolyte is potassium hydroxide dissolved in water. It contains no lithium, no cobalt, no rare earth elements, and no toxic heavy metals. It can be recycled by simply separating the metals, which have significant scrap value. And it lasts 20 to 40 years. In February of 2026, a research team co-led by UCLA published a study showing that a redesigned nickel-iron battery using nanotechnology can charge in seconds and endure over 12,000 full charge and discharge cycles. 12,000 cycles at 1 cycle per day equals over 33 years of daily use. The researchers used protein from beef industry byproducts as molecular templates to grow nickel and iron clusters at the nanometer scale, combined with graphene oxide sheets. The result is an ultra-fast version of Edison's original chemistry that charges and discharges faster than most lithium-ion cells while lasting decades longer. Stanford University had previously published similar findings using graphene and carbon nanotubes to dramatically accelerate the charge rate of nickel-iron cells. Both teams noted that the materials, nickel, iron, carbon, and water-based electrolyte, are inexpensive, abundant, and environmentally benign. The technology is proven at the lab scale. It has been proven in the field for over a century. It is being actively researched at multiple world-class universities. And yet, you cannot walk into a single electronics store in America and buy a nickel-iron battery for your home. Here is what you can do. Nickel-iron batteries are currently manufactured by companies in China and by at least one company in Montana. They're available for purchase online as individual cells or complete battery bank systems designed for off-grid solar and wind energy storage. A basic nickel-iron battery bank for a small off-grid cabin providing roughly 5 kilowatt-hours of storage costs approximately $800 to $1,500. That sounds expensive until you realize that the same bank will last 20 to 40 years without replacement. A comparable lead-acid battery bank costs $400 to $700, but must be replaced every 5 to 7 years. Over a 20-year period, the lead-acid system costs 2 to 3 times more than the nickel-iron system, while generating hundreds of pounds of toxic lead waste.
For the absolute minimum cost entry point, individual nickel-iron cells can be purchased for as little as $10 to $20 per cell from Chinese manufacturers. 10 cells in series produce 12 volts. Pair that with a simple charge controller and a solar panel, and you have a battery storage system that will outlast the house it sits in. Maintenance is simple. Check the electrolyte level every few months and top off with distilled water. Every 8 to 10 years, drain the old electrolyte and replace it with fresh potassium hydroxide solution, which costs about $15 to $20 for enough to fill a standard battery bank. The cells themselves never need replacement. They are nickel-plated steel containers holding iron and nickel plates in an alkaline bath. There is nothing inside them that degrades, corrodes, or wears out under normal or even abnormal use. Thomas Edison spent 4 years and tested 10,000 combinations to build a battery that would last a lifetime. He patented it in 1901. His company manufactured it profitably for 70 years. It powered railroads, mines, forklifts, and rockets. Some of the original cells are still working today, over a century later. Then Exide bought the company and killed the product within 3 years, because a battery that lasts 40 years is not a battery you can sell twice. $180 billion in annual lithium-ion revenue depends on you replacing your battery every 5 to 10 years. A global mining industry tearing apart Chilean deserts and Congolese mines depends on you never learning that the same job can be done with nickel, iron, and water. Edison told Henry Ford that the electric car would come back. It did, but the battery Edison built for it, the one that lasts decades, tolerates abuse, uses no toxic materials, and can be refreshed with a $20 jug of electrolyte, was buried by the very industry it was supposed to replace. Nickel does not degrade. Iron does not forget, and a battery designed by the most prolific inventor in American history does not stop working just because the company that bought it decided it was too good to sell. If you want to see the system that harvests 50,000 gallons of free water from your roof every year and was made illegal in multiple states, watch the next video right now.